Hello, dear Scorpio. I am Jamie Dawn, your evolutionary revolutionary astrologer, bringing you your March 2022 horoscope. And we kick off the month with a precious, sweet, compassionate, psychic healing. All these wonderful buzzwords for a Pisces new moon. And this is going to make a natural trine to your sun, moon, or rising sign in Scorpio. We also have Mercury canoodling with Saturn at this time. And both of these energies are affecting your fourth and fifth houses. And so you may find yourself a little bit more self-expressive. Maybe there's setting intentions because we are working with a new moon. This isn't really an action time. It's a time for dreaming, a time for really thinking and contemplating, going within to see what information or what energy do you want to draw down to you that you want to start manifesting in the next several weeks. And this is the beginning of a new cycle with it being a new moon. So because I feel this particular time is so energizing for you, I offer that you spend a little bit of time writing, creating a vision board, sharing with somebody that maybe is a teacher, maybe you're a teacher and you interact with some peers, but sharing your ideas with each other and really getting some of those dreams out into some format that you can energize throughout the month, because you'll start to see how powerful you can be in manifesting what you really dream. And the imaginal realm is so rich and so full at this time. And with it, affecting that fourth and fifth houses, you may be thinking of creative ways to give more, maybe more to your children, more to your home life. Maybe there's romance on your mind. I'll speak to some of you single Scorpios or those who just started dating somebody, that this may have a nice, sweet little moment where you're sitting and contemplating about the relationship or the way you want to show up as far as dating is concerned. And you set the intention, say, yeah, I'm ready to get back into the game, or I want to take this relationship now to a deeper level. I know you don't trust easily or quickly, Scorpio. So for those of you who are in a new relationship, it may take a little bit more time, but you're starting to feel like you can actually trust that the nature of this relationship is really solid. You may be setting intentions to have a little bit more fun, situations where you can express your creative and sensitive, compassionate nature. This may apply more to your bonded relationship, Scorpios. However, every Scorpio should have some effect of this. If you're in that established relationship, you may look at your partner and say, you know what, let's forget about the reality or whatever we have to deal with. Let's escape for a little bit. Some of you may be on a trip already, or you're deciding to go on one, or do something that just brings great joy. Maybe you go to a casino and do a little gambling. And I mentioned that because it is fifth house and you want to be careful, but we're also going to have the Sun and Jupiter canoodling later in the week on March 5th, a very magical, lucky day of the year. So if you are wanting to have a little bit of fun, just set a budget so that you don't stress each other out financially and go in and do something together like that, or take a little risk in deepening the bonds with each other. Take a little risk in sharing your thoughts and your feelings, or doing something that energizes you. And this applies to all of you Scorpios, not just those in a bonded relationship. So again, this has a great energy for maybe pushing out of your comfort zone a little bit. You're setting some intentions to do that. You may be inspired by love. Children may inspire you. Maybe you're a teacher and you're looking for ways to inspire these kids. You know, they're hitting that spring break time and coming to a close of school, and they may get a little restless, and you have to keep them engaged. This is one way that it could show up. Some of you, if you're dealing with your own children, you may find that they start like a new program, maybe a sports program or a new art program or something that engages these kids, and you help to fuel that for them. And if you've been looking for a solution on how can I keep my kids engaged in life and doing something that gets them more social, because we have been so isolated, this is the time where you start researching that, looking at it. And then the second week of March is where the action most likely will happen. You may find great joy and pleasure in escaping reality for a little bit during this week and maybe even into the weekend, especially as I mentioned that the Sun and Jupiter are canoodling this weekend. And part of this also can give you a chance to believe in love, to have faith. If you're one of those Scorpios who have just felt knocked down, you have tried every avenue possible to connect with somebody on a romantic level or to just have a little bit more fun, but you've had to slug away at reality. This week and into the next couple of weeks should start to feel lighter, give you a little bit more faith and hope that the universe really does have your back and you can believe that you can have love again. Venus and Mars will also be canoodling this first week of March, and it is exact on the 3rd. And so this is right at this new moon time. And so powerful connections can attract situations that you're really relied upon. And the reason I point to this is that you've got the Capricorn energy sitting in this 3rd house. So we're working with our local community. We're working with connections, with learning. Think of it like being in elementary school. You're gathering information, but you have to, speak about it, talk about it, communicate it, connect the dots. You may have some real serious or mature conversations that transform your life with Pluto being here. So romantically, some of you may say, hey, I want to take this relationship to a deeper level. Let's move in together. Or let's get engaged. Or I really do love you. Maybe that's the first time you two share it. Or it could be that you are putting yourself in the dating world and the person that you meet is a little bit older than you're used to, but the connection, the way you have these really deep and meaningful conversations can also give you moments of going, I didn't think of it that way. Or you are very powerful with that person that helps to change that life. You may learn or speak out against abuse or injustices at this time. We're currently in the middle of watching Russia invade Ukraine, and I know that's stirring up a lot of things. We still have a lot of inequality going on, and we're working hard with diversity and inclusivity. That may really speak to you, and you may find that if you've been looking for a particular cause to get involved in, that this is the time where you may say, I'm going to join a group to do this, or I'm going to start speaking out against something I'm really passionate about. You can also attract a situation where you have to defend your ideas around this first week of March. So do watch out if that emotional body gets really triggered and you feel you have to defend something, which sometimes you just have to. But remember that what we say is just as important, or should I say how we say is probably more important than what we say. And so it's okay to be passionate, and most likely you will be. You'll find great passion here. This is great if you are wanting to show somebody how much you care about them, you tell them verbally. It may be that you also are very persuasive at this time. So if you need to get an idea across, that you can use your words, and whether it's writing them, speaking them. Maybe some of you are setting an intention to get on the speaking circuit during this time because you want to speak out. You could encounter a relationship dynamic where you just have to face reality, Scorpio, that maybe there's been some exchange of, hey, I'm not sure that I still think this way or I still feel this way. And you have to say, okay, I have to accept where they're at right now and trust that the universe will have my back. It's either this or something better for my highest good. So if you're having some difficulty in the romantic department, just work with what is in this moment and allow the universe to say, I really do want to bring you good things. Watch out for verbal power struggles as well during this week of March, because very often when Pluto is involved, it can bring up hidden things that we didn't even know about. And with Venus and Mars canoodling here, we're working with relationship dynamics. We're working with the things that we value, our self-worth. And if our self-worth is triggered, we may defend ourselves, or we may shut down and end up, a pile of mush, if you will. And so this is a good time if you're thinking about talk therapy or coaching, or you need some help in this realm, then definitely reach out and get that support. Sun and Jupiter, as I mentioned, will be canoodling in your 5th house the first weekend of March. this means you're lucky in love. So if you're facing reality and you're saying, okay, this person's rejected me, or this is just a casual dating thing that's not going to go anywhere, I want something more. Well, this first weekend of March may energize you to get out there more and to say, okay, I'm going to connect with other people and not stay fixated on this one person. It can also provide you with, if something has seemed unclear or maybe untruthful, deceptive, that during this weekend you may find that it comes back around for you to talk through, or for more reality to start to settle in, and but yet you can do it in such a energized, compassionate way. Now, granted, with Jupiter here, it can expand things. So it can expand the empathy, it can expand the sensitivity and the emotional body, which can be good with, especially if we're working with compassion, putting yourself in somebody else's shoes, walking through what it is that we really want, both of us, and to have, and what we both really mean. So if you're in a relationship dynamic that just hasn't lined up, or there's been conflict, or there's been deception, you can actually use this weekend to feel more energized to talk through it in a very sweet and generous way. But of course, as I mentioned, Jupiter involved, it can also overinflate things and making us more sensitive than usual. And you may not like what you hear. That may cause you to escape. So you want to be careful about what you're escaping to. Now, if you're escaping to the water, if you're escaping to sunshine and something that makes you happy, and maybe an activity that you enjoy doing, whether you're bonded or single, this is a great time for you to let go of some reality, but you don't want to go into the escapism of abuse of substances, right? But I do feel like this first weekend of March can give you that hope and faith that regarding love and life, and that things are returning here. You may feel very generous about giving to those that you care about, those that make you happy. Fifth house is pleasure house. So anything that brings you great pleasure can be a source of inspiration. It can be a way of you being able to express who you are. You may see your friends and family go out of their way to just give you all the love and be very generous with you, exactly the way you are with them. Now, we have Venus and Mars are cosmic lovers. I mentioned before they were canoodling with Pluto this first week of March. Well, the second week of March, it's actually on March 6th, these cosmic lovers continue to dance together, but they're going to dance to a new song, a new tune of Aquarius. And this is going to energize your fourth house. So a desire for a harmonious home. You may decide during this time to make your home more high tech, syncing up all the electronics, maybe adding solar panels. We're dealing with Aquarius, so it's going to be sort of out there, progressive kind of energy. It may be that you end up working with your family members, or maybe there's family history that you work on healing in a different way because you're wanting this peace. Maybe there's been some conflict with, how do I really move forward, break some patterns that I no longer need? And I'm really driven to do that deeper work. And so here with Venus and Mars, you can start to unbind a lot of those things and do it through objectivity, do it through unusual ways, alternative healing. I'm even seeing some of you Scorpios getting into things like EFT or brain spotting, just something very different that might assist you. I would say, Reiki. I'm thinking of Reiki for quite a few of you as well. And that can just help to unbind some family stuff for you. But overall, I would say that, as much as you'll probably sense that you need a little bit more independence and freedom at home, it's because things feel more settled with your family or with your sense of self. You may also be preparing for children to graduate, to leave home. So I see a few of you Scorpios going on college tours or visits. I also see that a few of you will just be writing checks, if you will, because we're dealing with Venus here and finances and values, that you may be writing checks for that first semester of college, or whatever that certification might be for your child. Also, expressing love of family in very unusual ways will be a theme for you this month. And so, if you're not somebody that normally buys gifts for your parents, or you normally don't do something in a particular way, we'll talk about the love languages, the 5 love languages. You may do something very different than you normally do. It's possible that you could beautify your home in a very progressive way. And so you may be thinking about renovating and putting on, like upgrading, doing some of the latest technology or the latest uh, art form, if you will, to beautify the home. Great. Now, the other thing with Venus Mars sitting here throughout the month of March, you may be finding greater freedom working from home versus going to an office. So some of you will be negotiating whether you actually have to go back to an office. And if you do, and there's resistance, you may decide to cut ties with that company and start your own home-based business. Or you find a company, you may leave your current role and find a company that allows you to work remotely. And oftentimes that, I would say, if you're looking at a home-based business, some of you Scorpios are going to be launching alternative healing businesses that, as I mentioned before, there's Reiki, EFT, maybe there's, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, acupuncture, just something other than Western medicine, or, going into a different modality. You may even go into something like astrology. Humanity becomes home. It feels like home for you. And you may actually open up your home to someone who might be considered a misfit. I can see a few of you Scorpios, quote unquote, adopting a local person, maybe one of your children's friends who is struggling at their own home, and they need that role model. They need that parent, or they need a safe place where they can kind of hang out for a while. I can see you welcoming them and going, you know what, my home is your home, kid, no problem. Mercury enters Pisces March 10th. This further energizes your fifth house. So sharing your wisdom, your compassion, that sensitive nature through all of your creative expression. Some of you may write creatively. Maybe you are an actor, an artist. Somehow you are expressing and sharing this wisdom. You're teaching. Maybe you draw in a teacher at this time that you can learn from. It's a great position for the storyteller, communicating some sort of art form as well. So, like I say, if you're in a role that lets you communicate your wisdom, this is a great time. You'll find inspiration. You'll find the imaginal realm to be rich and full, your dream state, however you need to activate it. Some of you Scorpios, I'm getting ahead, will either join a dream group, start a dream group, and really work within your dreams so that you can pull out I say get lucid. One of my teachers, Charlie Morley, and another one, Andrew Holochek, we work with lucidity in our dream state so that we can access the subconscious mind and bring it into reality. And it's so much fun once you really get the hang of it. Decisions, discussions about your children that require compassion and empathy may show up. There could be some conflict that you have to work through. And with Mercury in Pisces, you can use that compassionate nature to be able to bring talks to a good conclusion. Do have to watch out for a bit of deception here. And with that fifth house, the deception isn't always a bad thing if you're finding great pleasure in, painting a pretty picture for fun, right? This is a great playwright kind of writing or novel, the romantic novel, if that's something that you're wanting to experience. But it also does lend itself where the hidden information can play behind the scenes, where deception can happen. There could be a third party situation, things like that. But I will tell you that the truth always gets revealed, and everybody who knows a Scorpio knows that you will stop at nothing to get to the bottom line, to get to that truth. So just know that if you are faced with a situation where there is some deception, the truth will come out. The sun is canoodling conjunct with Neptune on March 13th, further emphasizing this fifth house. So more emphasis on your romantic nature and your children, on your creative expression. So sensitive, caring, energized by a search for a higher meaning and the pleasures of life. That tells me that you may decide you want to take on a more spiritual approach to the way in which you find joy. You may find great joy in exploring more of that spiritual nature. What is life? Maybe there's some philosophy going on here. You could paint a pretty picture of what love and creativity and having more fun would look like. Go for it, enjoy it. And you could be the source of inspiration for this younger generation that's coming up because you're staying true to yourself. You're being authentic and you're saying, you know what? I'm going to have fun having no fucks to give. I'm just going to go do my thing. And when I can show up for myself, I can inspire the next generation to show up for themselves. And what better message can I give than that? You could find that a person or situation provides just the right environment for you to feel really proud and receive just the right amount of attention. I see a few of you Scorpios getting some sort of award around this time, some sort of accolade, praise for the job well done. March 18th, Virgo full moon. This further emphasizes your 5th and 11th houses, so you can release any negativity that has robbed you of your pleasure. You can clear out any casual relationships for something deeper. So if you are dating and it's like, I know it's not going to go anywhere, you may release it around this time. It's also indicating that there could be friendships like that. If they're tried and true, no problem. But if they're not, then and it's been too negative, then you may let go of a couple of friendships or groups that you belong to. You may also find yourself a little more critical of people's behaviors and the things that feel as though they block your creative expression. So do watch out for that, especially I'm getting some of you Scorpios that are in like a writing group. If you're submitting your article or your book or your manuscript, whatever it is that you're writing, and you have people critique it, around this full moon is probably not the best time to do it unless you're really open to that feedback. But sensitivity is going to be at an all-time high for you. So you're going to have to put yourself in check if you're going to have somebody else criticizing your work. And it doesn't just have to be writing. I mean, it can be any way in which you express yourself. Maybe you're creating baskets or purses or scarves or whatever. And you're like, what do you think? And you get somebody to give you negative feedback. Well, if that demoralizes you, you may want to reconsider. I'm just saying. Now, the other thing with this full moon, those of you who are single or dating, a casual friendship could turn into a romance around this time, or you could take your romantic relationship to that next level. And those of you who are in a bonded, established relationship that have been for quite some time, you could take this full moon and deepen the connection by removing the negativity, removing the criticalness that may have crept in and created some resentment or some worries or this walking on eggshells feeling that can often happen with that. And so you could just deepen those bonds with each other by saying, you know what, let's let go of all that criticism and let's focus on the things we do really well and how good we are together. There is a small group of you Scorpios who may be letting a relationship go altogether because something came to light that wasn't true. And you can't deal with bullshit, bottom line. So I will say there is a small indication that may happen, but most likely this should be a very friendly, sweet, kind. You'll find people that you care about, that you've been giving so much to, that they turn around and give more to you. The sun enters Aries on March 20th, the spring equinox. This is going to energize your 6th house. So you'll spend the first part of March most likely thinking about romance and fun and pleasure, creative expression. And then when the sun enters Aries, you'll turn your attention towards your daily tasks, your routines, your self-development, your co-working spaces. You may feel a renewed sense of energy returning to all of this. Maybe there's some health goals that you've sort of put on the side and now you're going to rejuvenate them, You may get recognition from others through your work. And you may be doing work that you can take real pride in during this time. So give yourself permission to escape, play, have a little bit of fun the first part of March, second part of March, then and into April, then it's time to turn back to your daily routines. Now, if you have a trip planned, because I know spring break is hitting a lot of people the end of March, 1st of April. And if this is you, then what you may find is that you'll be renewed and re-energized after you come back from this lovely vacation, because you'll realize that, hey, now that I have reset myself, I'm ready to roll up my sleeves and get moving. You could find yourself leading a project, starting a new business, finding new clients in the physical or mental health arena while the sun transits through the sign of Aries for you. Mercury canoodles Jupiter and Mars sextiles Chiron on the 21st, right at this equinox time. So routines established within home or family or even romantic relationships can give you a sense of hope and faith that whatever issues that created worry or anxiety before, they're now can be settled. There's healing here. Offering your gifts as an act of service can go a long way, especially with those who you find my words, interact with on a regular basis. And you may take on a greater support role within your family unit or work environment. And this allows you to be able to feel like you belong. It allows you to feel like you're able to be of great benefit to society, great benefit to your family, and most of all, just to feel good about who you are. And so I sense that the month of March is going to be very energizing, very psychic. Definitely pay attention to your psychic hits, to your dreams, to if you're interacting with, like, say, a dream group or other intuitives, allow yourself to work with each other to receive more information, confirmations. And remember that life's a journey. This isn't about a destination, but definitely pay attention to how you're bringing these dreams down into a physical form. All right, you guys, I really hope this helps. Please like, subscribe, share, comment. Find me at jamiedawn.com. I look forward to connecting with you. Have a great month.